Hi guys, so we're going to be looking at Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker's Synastry, but before I get into it, I just want to touch on a few of Kourtney's transits that she's been having that sort of contributed to her current life and her current relationship. So she had her first natal Pluto square transiting Pluto around March 2016, and so this is when her and Scott first split. Usually with this transit, it's quite a big one. It happens once in a lifetime. We do often actually also see the Pluto opposition, but with the Pluto square, it brings massive, deep psychological, physical transformation and change in our lives to help us confront our beliefs and sort of purge any unhealthy attachments to things, to relationships. And for the Pluto Libra generation, like Kourtney, this will be to do with relationships and marriage, and they are called the happily ever after generation because of this. So we all have this Pluto-Venus square. It happens once in our life usually, so around ages 36 to 42, and it's when the ground really starts to shake in our life and we're really forced to bring out all the skeletons from the closet, any deceptions, any fears that we really have to face that we've sort of buried away or hid from others, and we start to then rebuild our lives on something that's more authentic and more meaningful. And usually this is why it's called the midlife crisis, because it changes us so much, and fundamentally as well, it changes deep within our subconscious. So it's to make you more resilient and honest by confronting the deepest parts of yourself. And then after, or sometimes during, we have our Uranus opposition. So again, this is a big transit that happens once in our life, where we want to break free of outdated or restrictive sort of patterns or conditions so we can have more freedom, more autonomy, and energy back into our life. And I can see this happening with Kourtney because a lot of people are saying she's been very shocking and unpredictable with dating Travis Barker and the way she's behaving. So it's very Uranian, very, I want to do something different. And that's because the Uranus opposition will be coming up around mid next year as well, when it will peak for her. So who knows, maybe she'll surprise us with a marriage or a baby or something. So it makes sense really that she reevaluated her relationship with Scott Disick and that it ended, because Pluto is the lord of death and endings. It can bring endings, these big transits, whether it's physical, it's metaphorical. It really is about change and something old going out, new coming in, and having to really dig deep to understand what needs to change. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't have stayed together. That's really on them and their synastry. But we're not doing their synastry today. But if you want that, let me know in the comments. So Pluto is a slow moving planet. So it's been going back and forth, squaring her natal, Kourtney's natal Pluto, from 2016 up until February 2019. And I think this was when she was really ready to start new, start afresh, because Scorpio and Pluto is like the phoenix that burns, but then gets reborn from the ashes and sort of is born again. And it's that feeling after a Pluto transit, like a new version and a better version of yourself. So I think that's how she felt sort of start to mid 2019 after that breakup again. It was just starting new, starting fresh, and having to let go of the old, or what didn't serve her anymore, wasn't positive in her life anymore. And so this is when rumors of her and Travis Barker starting to date began. So I really understand for Kourtney why she sort of gets frustrated and confused with people in her family, especially asking her about Scott, like, are you going to marry him? Are you going to get back together? Because for her, I can see no. I mean, 3 to 4 years of a Pluto transit, she's really gone to the depths of her psyche, of her soul, to try and understand what is best for her. And so whatever she's sort of come out the other end and decided and rebuilt for her life now, it's pretty definite. Until she goes through another big transformational transit that helps her reevaluate things again. So the first aspect I want to talk about with Travis and Kourtney is her Mars is conjunct his moon, which is opposite his Pluto-Venus conjunction. So let's break it down. She has a raw and fiery sort of sexual side of her. And this is the same fearless side of her that isn't afraid to cause a fight, to stand up for herself. And so this is connecting strongly with his emotional needs to be fearless, to be independent, to be impulsive and headstrong. So they support this in one another. He emotionally is uplifted by her, and she gains sort of energy and a stronger identity from it. And because of the nature of these two planets, Mars and Moon, it really creates an instinctive passion and pull to be together. And they're also the planets of fertility and procreation. So I really wouldn't be surprised if they have a baby together. So this aspect is now making an opposition to his Pluto-Venus. This is his intense love nature, because he's also got a Venus square Mars. So he has a very passionate and all-encompassing love nature. So obviously that this fires up passion between them, and it sort of binds their fascination with each other. But with this is some tension that they'll really have to work through in terms of keeping the peace and not getting caught up in dramatic displays of attachment or aggression in confusion of love. And there may also be some power plays here as they defend their wants and actions and independence. Also, because they have Mars's squaring and his Mars square her Mercury, there'll definitely be their fair share of fights and arguments and misunderstandings, and they'll need to learn to control this energy and accept each other for their differences of opinions. Otherwise, they'll end up really defensive and resentful and hurt. And I really do see two people that are very defensive and protective in nature, so I think this will come up a lot. His Saturn coming into trine her Mars, that will sort of calm things down a little bit. It'll really create a grounding and stabilizing kind of energy between them, especially for her more aggressive and reactive side, and also help her rationalize things as well as trining her Mercury as well. So their times of birth should be correct here. So their moons are exactly square by degree. So this can create different emotional temperaments, misunderstandings, different habits, different emotional reactions, and ways of expressing those feelings. And they find comfort and nurturing in different things, because Kourtney is emotionally hard with a Capricorn moon. So she doesn't like to show her true feelings, and she keeps them closely guarded, I think, only really exploring them if she's in complete burnout or she has no other choice. She may see emotions as not practical or a bit of a waste of time. So Travis, on the other hand, feels things instantly and expresses them instantly. And it may be frustrating for her as they're really both pushing and forcing each other into emotional expression. And that's the nature of a square. You really have to face it and deal with it. You've got no other choice. So it may go one of two ways. This energy might prompt her to open up more, and that might be good. They might feel like they can share more together, even if it's a bit forced, but then they feel great because they can discuss it. Or that pushing makes her shut down and put up her walls even more and become more and more reserved with her emotions. And especially with his Pluto squaring her moon, so she may feel very vulnerable yet unable to run away from these deep feelings that he evokes. His Neptune trining her Mars will take some heat out of this aspect, as well as that Saturn, and just make him very compassionate again towards her and understanding about her sort of rash and headstrong side. I think that's maybe why she likes him so much. Everyone else finds her quite abrasive, but he can really be understanding about that. The other strong aspect is his Sun conjunct her Uranus. So this is a great aspect for excitement, a refreshing kind of carefree energy, and it's about friendship and goofing around and knowing that there's a natural acceptance of one another's quirks. And yeah, I think that's very refreshing and liberating for Kourtney, and that she only feels comfortable doing that around him. It might be because she's putting on a very happy and glamorous persona for reality TV, and we know her for being this real laid back, chilled, whatever kind of attitude. That's really her Neptune in Sag on the MC. But his Sun also trining her Venus. I mean, there's a real natural flow of love and ease of loving each other and affection. That's probably why they just stayed friends for so long, and that this ease of relating. And this is also nice because her Venus is one of her few, if only, more softer, more feminine, more receptive sides of her. So the fact that he's lighting that up is very sweet. And because for her, Venus is her love language, and his Sun, his ego, and who he is at his core. So his way of expressing himself in a deeper and more raw way than most people is in line with the way that Kourtney loves people in a really deep and emotionally accepting way. So there's really nothing superficial here about their love or their friendship. And his Chiron conjunct her Sun means that she has the ability to trigger his deepest wounds. And if she's aware of this and can kind of leave her ego out of things, you know, she's got that square from Jupiter to the Sun, she can be a great source of healing for him as well, and the pain that he's been through in his life. A bit less important is that in conjunct Suns, Scorpio and Aries, they have passion and intensity in common, so that can help them understand each other and overcome differences with that. But if they do stay together long term and can't seem to overcome this friction, these fights, this intensity that they have with each other, there will be many. They may end up feeling like they're on different paths and not quite understand why they're together. Ultimately, they need to maintain their individuality, their lives, and not get caught up with blaming the other one for triggering them, and face their own issues and take responsibility for it. And then put their energy into finding that balance of peace and passion. And because Kourtney has Saturn on her descendant, it's trining her moon in Capricorn and her Chiron, emphasizes to me how much deep learning will come about through these relationships, and wounding at the same time with Chiron. So those with commitment and loyalty and stability can be very healing and last a lifetime for her. But these lessons will have to do with, in Virgo, trying to fix people or control things and being too critical and judgmental and sort of bottling up her feelings and not feeling fulfilled and trying to fill that with materialism and things like this. What she really needs to do is come back to simplicity. And so what will matter in the long run for her is the continuity and the reliability of someone. And that's probably why she likes Scott Barker. He's a long-term friend. She's known him her whole life. And she also probably really respects that in Scott Disick as well. The fact that he's always going to love her. He keeps saying, I'll love you no matter what. You know, we've been together forever. I'll always be there. So that sort of solidity in her relationships is going to teach her a lot. Something for her to be aware of. So I hope you like the reading. Leave a like or comment and I'll see you soon.